at least it wasn't the puppet episode, right? That's the bar at this point. Where I was expecting the puppet episode to come out this week. I didn't know they were doing the noir episode, which is what they've been referring to it as in interviews and the like. And it just drives me crazy because this is a pattern at this point that is beyond what they were doing in season 2, beyond what they were doing in season 3. Every episode is a pastiche of a different genre, different TV show or movie. That's all they're doing now. There's no Strange New Worlds. There's no character development. Nothing matters about these characters. It's what if we just take these characters and insert them into Teletubbies, or or Blue's Clues. I mean, I guess that's what the Muppets episode will be in essence, right? This one is what if we did Casablanca but Star Trek, and that's all it is. Now, I'm going to get into my review in just a moment. Please hit the like, subscribe button. There's nothing inherently wrong with this just by itself. And I was arguing with somebody this morning who's like, Star Trek's always done offbeat episodes, and they love to do this too. They actually repeat this in the media. That's why people say it. It's propaganda on their own front, and that's true. And I'll explain why that doesn't work here in just a moment. So please hit the like, subscribe button, join us as we talk about all things Star Trek. If you're missing actual science fiction and actual space exploration stories, I have you covered, guys. I have a series, Valiant Frontiers, 3 books out. I got a full trilogy out this year. It's been doing great this month, too. I appreciate you guys. And it starts with the Soul Catcher. I'm going to put this in the description below. It's on Amazon, and I appreciate you guys being here. I've got a great captain, great crew who actually develop the real stories that matter, that actually progress. And each book is its own kind of planet of a week where they actually go and explore and deal with a crisis. It's pretty good. And this almost got there for Strange New Worlds this week, but it missed the mark. So, guys, check it out. Support our channel in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. Grab the whole trilogy this weekend and enjoy yourselves, and thanks for being here. Okay, so where were we with Strange New Worlds this week? They almost got there. And it's not the look of Star Trek. The look is what it is and doesn't matter. This is, they did Spider-Man Noir, but Star Trek, Casablanca, the Maltese Falcon. They added in sci-fi elements to make it look like Metropolis or whatever. But that's it. Pretty obvious what was going to go on here, and it's ridiculous. And that's the problem, is it doesn't take itself seriously, and it never does in this setting or situation. This is very obvious as to what it is. It's an homage to the 1942 film Casablanca, and there's just no emotional stakes to any of this stuff because it's just this week's pastiche. Next week's going to be, I guess, puppets or whatever, right? And so that's what we're waiting for that to drop, the other shoe to drop. Nothing this season at all has been its own story. The first episode was Doctor Who, very clearly. The second episode was Event Horizon, very clearly. The third episode was The Hangover, very clearly. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like they went into AI and said, do me a Strange New Worlds episode, but with The Hangover. And they did that. And I kind of think that's been done here, guys, because I heard some dialogue in this episode that felt like the AI tick, where there's a point where Una actually is talking about things and she goes, not this, it's this. And she did that in that pattern where, again, I've never seen a human actually write like that, but AI loves to do that pattern, not this, but and it likes to do things in threes like that. Very odd. So I feel like there was some AI assistance in the script here going on as they turn this stuff in. Very, very funny. Now, number 1, Dr. Mbenga and Uhura beam down to retrieve a malfunctioning Starfleet probe on Matar, a planet occupied by the Klingons. Or they were after a probe, and they got cut off by a D7 and were forced down onto the planet, and then they decide to actually go and hang out on the planet rather than sitting in the shuttle and waiting it out for who knows why. Doesn't make sense. But they did that. The entire episode is in black and white, which is said to be a side effect of the region of space because of a star emitting some radiation. Now, clearly, they've done this before. Like, there's a weird universe that's a sound universe for their whatchamacallit. What was that? The musical episode, right? It's just like, oh, science fiction. Oh, I guess we got to put something in here to explain the reason we want to do a black and white episode. Oh, I guess we got to put something in here to explain why we want to do a musical episode. Oh, we got to put in. There's something in the atmosphere that causes like drug-like effects. That's why we have a hangover episode. It's like they have the science fiction concept secondary, like to serve the plot, rather than the plot serving the science fiction concept. That's where they miss the mark entirely. That is exactly why this doesn't work out on every single level for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So once on the ground, Una is mistaken for Nivette, the owner of a local nightclub, a woman who publicly collaborates with Klingon occupiers while secretly running the resistance underneath them. The Klingons are indeed literal Nazis. They only have one villain in SJW writing, and they have literal armbands. You know, it was ridiculous again. But they're doing Casablanca, so that's why they did that. This planet's supposed to be Morocco, occupied by the Nazis, and that's what we're supposed to get out of this, right? So Una gets pulled into her double life, has to survive as her stand-in, and it's a very weird. There's a couple of throwaway lines that explain things in this, and it's like, oh gosh, I guess we got to do the science fiction thing, guys. Oh, there's a star that makes it black and white. Yeah, that's right. Don't worry about how it makes sense or whatever, but that's how it works. Oh, you've got a body double here in the universe. Like, there's lots of people who are probably duplicates because there's so many people. It's amazing we haven't run into them before. That doesn't make sense and breaks down pretty quickly too. But again, that's the plot of Casablanca: somebody being mistaken for somebody else and then running through that. So they had to do that, and then they came up with a very thin science fiction level excuse to do that. That doesn't make sense, and you're supposed to just turn your brain off and just enjoy the noir, right? That's what it's turn your brain off, right? That's what they're trying to do. And I did. I'm not going to belabor all these points of all the science problems and logic plot problems of Strange New Worlds, because that is what they do. They turn your brain off. This isn't Star Trek, and that is their entire intention. Just turn your brain off and enjoy the pastiche, right? And that is what they're asking us to do every single episode. So, like, I'm not going to belabor it every single time because we've already talked about that. So there they are. The episode tiles all this back in. There's a double plot, a secondary plot where La'an is investigating some data from the probe, and then it got haywire, erased, and it's being covered up, and she doesn't know why. And again, that's there, and they had to have a B plot, so that was going on there, and that was that. Cinematography looks pretty. Production design looks pretty. It's, again, if you don't think about things too hard, I guess you can enjoy this on that level. Here's where it all breaks down on a level of writing as a sci-fi writer that is way worse than any of the plot contrivances or any of the stuff like that. There's no emotion or any tension to any of this stuff. Chapel was falsifying Starfleet records, hiding a treaty violation from her own crewmate, and it's a big deal. That's the B plot here that La'an uncovers. And La'an just goes, oh, okay, fine. This is a court-martial level offense, and they wrap it in a moral dilemma. The episode doesn't treat it that way and very seriously. La'an gets close to the truth, confronts Chapel. At no point does the story suggest La'an was ever going to report her. The outcome is settled before the conflict even starts. Pike, who's in command here, barely acts in any of it. La'an says there's something fishy about this, and he's like, "You're the security officer. Why don't you investigate it?" I mean, what a captain at that point. The big problem, and at the end of it, La'an reports to it, and he's like, oh, fine, if that's your report, if you change your mind later. Like, he knows something's wrong, and yet he doesn't pursue it or care either. Wow, what a crazy ship. If people are violating treaties, falsifying information, all under your command, and you're just like, just another day at the office, guys. Pike deserves to lose his command pretty quickly to Lieutenant Kirk here as it goes on. Pretty crazy stuff. And again, there's just no tension to it. The captain can't be bothered to care about this. The security officer can't be bothered to even have a dilemma of whether to report her or not. She just goes and falsifies her own report and is an accomplice in this. Now, maybe there was a good reason for all of it, and Chapel says there's a good reason for all of it. But my gosh, you had some drama there. Use it. That's the whole point of the episode, right? And then the Casablanca arc also runs on the same empty fuel on the planet. There's never any real danger or any real tension for these characters. You don't feel there's any problems because it is just a pastiche, and you feel that as it goes through. You got a doppelganger, an occupied planet, a script insisting this is personal for her. The writers tie this resistance story back to Una's past, the idea that she didn't fight when she had a chance before and gets a second shot at it, which is a cool emotional setup, explained towards the end of it. Casablanca run on that same tension, a man who once stood for something and has to decide to stand for it again. But none of it lands. She plays the role the way every actor plays it competently, but the danger never feels real to her whatsoever. Her time reads like a costume she's wearing rather than she's risking. And that actually explains what Star Trek is in all of the Strange New Worlds that I've seen so far. It just feels like somebody cosplaying Star Trek. Like I watch fan films quite a bit, and they seem to care about it and really genuinely care about Star Trek. This is like somebody putting on a costume for a paycheck, and like that's what is Star Trek about it. And that's exactly the whole problem when this all breaks down. So I mentioned this is all pseudoscience as a crutch. There's no real science fiction anything to it. There's no real drama to any of this stuff. You know they're all going to be fine at the end, and so it's whatever. There's nothing here that feels like stakes for anybody, and you don't care enough about the people on the planet because there's no real reason to, other than they're the resistance of the literal Nazis. I guess that's what you're supposed to care about. They don't really give you a reason to care about them. You don't feel like these people are actually particularly oppressed or anything like throughout the entire episode. They're all just like hanging out at a bar, like being noir like. It's very like okay. There's no urgency to any of this stuff. And that's why this all breaks down. It's like it doesn't feel like anybody's taking this seriously across the board. Now, this is what they're doing in every single episode. The other problem with it is it's a pattern now. This is this week's noir episode. Last week was last week's hangover episode. Next week's going to be next week's puppet episode. So every episode is this. And so I mentioned I was arguing with somebody about this. Is Star Trek's always done this stuff. There was holodecks before. Yeah, there was like 1 or 2 holodeck episodes a season. And then there was a lot of really meaty science fiction in between that. And you got to break from some of the heavy stuff for having these like sort of character moments that felt kind of good. We get no break from this stuff. We get no break from the pastiche. That's all it is. And it just feels like lazy writing all the way around. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Despite all of this, this was not as bad as the episode before. It's just the patterns building up and making me bored. If this was a one-off thing, I don't think I'd hate it that much. Yeah, there's some issues with like the science fiction and the reasoning, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's standard Christmas stuff. But I could turn my brain off and have a dumb episode and enjoy it if there was one episode like this. But it's every episode, and it's mounting up pretty badly. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Check out my soul catcher in the description below. This is where Valiant Frontiers starts off, and we take the space exploration and science fiction seriously over here, guys. It's in the description below. We'll be back soon.